Today we're going to be comparing a handful of 21700 flashlights that are all well suited for everyday carry, and we'll be checking out some beam shots, their body and switch designs, and discussing their prices to help you decide which one might be the best for you. So if you're curious about or actively searching for a 21700 flashlight, this video will show you a few different options and help you decide which one is best for you. The lights we're going to be taking a look at in this video are the Acebeam E75, which is a quad-core high-output beast, the Convoy S21E, which is a budget-friendly competitor sent over from Neil's Gadgets, the Cyansky P25 V2, which has a beautiful micro-arc oxidation finish, the Olight Baton 3 Pro Max, which is one of Olight's flagship EDC flashlights, and two different lights from Fenix, including the PD36R, which is a very simple and functional design, and also the PD40R V3, which is a great thrower. But before we dive in and check out some beam shots, be sure to smash that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe if you're new here. I'm also going to be giving away one of these flashlights, and to enter to win, all you have to do is comment down below and let us know which of these flashlights in the video are your favorite, and I'll be randomly selecting a winner using the Comment Picker app next Friday. Full details on the giveaway will be in the description below. We're going to kick things off with the Acebeam E75, which is a quad emitter light with 4 Nichia 519A 5000K emitters with a 90 CRI, but this light is also available in a cooler 6500K cool white high output version. The E75 has a max output of 3000 lumens, a max throw distance of 210 meters, and a peak intensity of 11,025 candela. And while it's on turbo, it will ramp down to 1000 lumens, and then it will continue to run for roughly another hour and 45 minutes. It has a very wide flood style beam and is going to be one of the best for illuminating wide close-up range environments where you need a lot of light, and the most comparable light in the lineup is the Baton 3, which we're going to be taking a look at in the next few minutes. The Fenix PD40R V2 has a luminous SFT 70 emitter and a cool white color temperature that's roughly 6500K, and it has a max output of 3000 lumens, a max throw distance of 500 meters, and a peak intensity of 60,954 candela. This light will slowly ramp down to the 1500 lumen mark over the course of about 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive that it can actually sustain a relatively high output for longer periods of time compared to many other flashlights in its class. The PD40R has a hybrid style beam profile with a very intense hotspot, and this is the best light in the lineup for spotting things at distance, and the range on this light is about twice as far as any of the other lights here. And the next most comparable light at distance is the light we're going to be taking a look at next, and that's the Fenix PD36R, which has a luminous SST 40 emitter, and it has a max output of 1600 lumens, a throw distance of 283 meters, and a peak intensity of 19,977 candela. This light will ramp down to about 800 lumens after about 20 minutes, and it will continue to run while slowly ramping down for another hour and 40 minutes. The hotspot is less intense compared to the PD40R, which we looked at previously, but the beam angle is also wider, so this light is going to be better for mid-range use. The Olight Baton 3 Pro Max has a cool white emitter and a max output of 2500 lumens, a max throw distance of 145 meters, and a peak intensity of 5,295 candela. This is an ultra wide angle flood style light with almost no visible hotspot, but it does have an extremely wide beam angle, and it's probably the most similar to the Acebeam light that we saw at the beginning of the video, but the main difference here is going to be that this light is less intense, and this one has a much cooler color temperature, but it too would make a great choice for those of you who need a light that's best suited for short range use. The Cyansky P25 V2 MAO has a Cree XHP 70.3 cool white emitter, and it's capable of producing 3600 lumens, throwing 208 meters, and it has a peak intensity of 10,800 candela. This light produces an interesting hybrid style beam pattern with a low intensity hotspot, which does allow you to stretch out to reasonably far throw distances, but the beam angle is also nice and wide, making it a great light for walking as well. Overall, it's a very versatile beam style and has a bit more range to it compared to the Acebeam and the Olight that we looked at earlier. The Convoy S21E has a luminous SST 40 emitter with a 5000K color temperature, but it can also be picked up in 6500K, or you can even grab it with an SFT 40 in both 5000K and 6500K, and has a max output of 2400 lumens. And unfortunately, I don't have any other specs about the throw or the intensity, but the beam profile is also a hybrid style, and it's probably the most similar to the Fenix PD36R, which would also make it well suited for mid-range use. Even though it's brighter than the PD36R, it does have a more neutral color temperature, which makes it appear to be less bright, so overall the performance does seem pretty comparable between these two lights. but the neutral color temperature is going to be easier for your eyes to adjust to and better if you have to use it for longer periods of time. Now we're going to take a few minutes to take a look at each of these lights' bodies, their switch designs, and their charging setups. The Acebeam E75 is the widest of the 2700 lights here, and this one is OD green, which seems to be a very popular color this year, but it's also available in 3 other colors. There's a very robust removable pocket clip which is screwed into the body, but it can be removed, and it has a backlit metal side switch, and the UI can be controlled with a combination of different switch presses. There's 6 different primary modes, including a moonlight mode and also a strobe mode as well, and you can charge the E75 via USB-C under this protected charging port. The Fenix PD40R V2 MAO is another light that's on the larger side, which is narrow on the tube, but it gets wider at the head, and this one has a removable pocket clip. This light has one of the most interesting switch designs in the lineup with the rotary style switch on the head, and all you have to do is twist to select the mode that you want, and there's 4 different primary output modes, an SOS and a strobe mode. The PD40R is able to charge via USB-C. The Fenix PD36R is much more streamlined and compact compared to the PD40R, and it also has a removable 2-way pocket clip. It has a dual switch design and the tail switch to turn the light on and off, and also a side switch to cycle through 5 primary output modes and the strobe mode. The PD36R is also able to charge via USB-C. The Olight Baton 3 Pro Max we have here is purple, but this light is available in a bunch of other colors, and it is the most compact and the sleekest design in the lineup. It does have a fairly robust removable 2-way pocket clip and a single side switch, which will give you access to 5 different primary output modes plus a strobe. Olight has a proprietary magnetic charging setup, and the way it works is you just connect it to the tail magnetically. The Cyansky P25 V2 has a beautiful gray micro arc oxidized finish, which looks very modern, and this light can also be picked up in a few different colors. You can turn the light on and off by pressing the tail switch, and then you can cycle through 4 different general modes and 3 special modes by pressing the side switch. There's no charging port on the light, which does make it resistant to dust and water, and there is a built-in USB-C port on the battery, which is one of my preferred charging setups due to its durability and its convenience. Finally, we have the Convoy S21E, and this one is black, but it also comes in a bunch of different colors. There's the decent pocket clip on this light, and it has a backlit side switch, and the S21E runs Anduril, which is one of the most advanced UIs on the market, so it really opens up the user to a lot of different options. You can charge the light via USB-C, and you can also access it through this port underneath the head of the light. Now I'll take a few minutes to talk about the price of these lights, and I'll share a few thoughts on each one to help you decide which one might be best for you. The Acebeam E75 retails for about $100, and considering how many emitters it has and how good the build quality is, it does offer excellent value for the price. And if you want a light for short range use, this is definitely a good choice, and Acebeam is one of my favorite flashlight brands across the board, and they do pretty well in almost every light that they produce. The main downside for me is that the E75 is a decent amount heavier than the rest of the lights here, which does make it less desirable for pocket carry. The Fenix PD40R V2 MAO retails for about $120, which does make it the most expensive light here. Overall, it's another well-built light from a brand that does have a great reputation, and the switch design is pretty interesting, and the throw distance far exceeded the rest of the lights here. The main issue I'm having with this light is the price does seem to be a bit high, and the light is pretty big, but there's not much else comparable in the 21700 EDC class. The Fenix PD36R also retails for about $100, and this is one of the most affordable options, and I do really like this light for its simplicity in both the design and the UI, and it does seem relatively pocket carry friendly. The max lumen output was a bit underwhelming compared to the other lights here, but for those of you looking to run at more consistent outputs who don't need all that much output, this light would probably meet your needs. The Olight Baton 3 Pro Max retails for about $90, but Olight does have sales from time to time, so if you keep an eye out for their emails, there's a good chance you can get a deal on this light. It is the most pocket carry friendly light in the lineup, which is definitely a very important consideration for an EDC flashlight, and it's great for close range use, but it's not going to be able to reach out nearly as far as many of the other lights here. It's a bit strange that Olight is generally not forthcoming about their emitters that they use, but for the most part their consumers tend to be consumed with design aesthetics and their max outputs, and in both those categories they definitely do a good job. Cyansky P25 V2 MAO retails for about $110, and this light has the nicest finish with this micro arc oxidation, and it not only looks great but it feels awesome to touch. It's another simple design and good for those of you who like the dual switch design. The max output was also really good on this light, and the main downside is that this light is longer than the rest of the lights here, so it's not really as pocket carry friendly as many of the other lights, but it is still relatively narrow and lightweight. The Convoy S21E SST40 5000K retails for about $33, which is a phenomenal deal considering the performance is very comparable to the much more expensive lights. It's also very pocket carry friendly, and it's just about the same size as the Baton 3. For the most part, the build quality is decent on this light, and the switch is really the only component that leaves a little to be desired, and the aesthetics are a bit lackluster compared to the other lights here. But if you are on a budget and you want a great 21700 EDC light at an affordable price, this would definitely be a good way to go. Thanks so much for watching the video, and it would be great to hear your thoughts on these lights down in the comments below. I've reviewed a bunch of other 21700 EDC lights, and I'll post some links to those videos down in the description in case you're still searching. And I've also added these lights to a database that I've been putting together over the last year with a ton of different flashlights. So if you want to see how some of the specs compare to other flashlights, you can check out this tool down below as well.